This is just a build video of the process of putting all this together. Um, it was a long process for me. I started in March and worked almost daily on different parts of it. But it's just a bunch of pictures and me talking, telling you about the different process. I still say the hardest part was all the sanding. I did so much sanding in this process, this project. Um, Sanding and painting, that seemed like all I did there toward the end. But anyway, here it is. I started with 1/4 inch MDF. This is 3/4 inch on top. You can see I just kind of filled in the sides. This was just trying to get fitment to see what size of box I could have, to be able to send the measurements to have a design put together for me. This part wasn't too hard. I did waste a full sheet of MDF. Now this is where I was kind of figuring out how I was going to mount the amplifier. And I thought I would just kind of wrap it or something. I really didn't know what I was going to do. You can see where I had planned on putting the batteries in. I actually have the batteries in that spot now, underneath the front like that. And I jumped over to trying to work on a panel. I kind of changed my mind and thought I would just make my own panel so I can cut it and shape it and not ruin the factory one. And it turned out pretty good. It was rough goings just because I'd never worked with fiberglass or resin or anything before, so it was definitely a learning process. And I actually got tired of having no base, so I hooked everything up with my old setup and got that in there. And the amplifier is in that same spot now, so lucky fit, lucky place to put it, I guess. And if you look closely, you can see the fitment wasn't real good at first, so I pulled it out and worked on it some more to try to get it to fit better. And this is where it really fit nicely. I liked how it looked. Actually, the end result, I had to cut so much off the back of it because it just wouldn't fit with the wheel well, and I couldn't even get it in there because the box. It was mainly because the box was in the way. I couldn't get it in there. Too tight of a fit. But it's just as well because it fits great. You can't see where I cut it off anyway. Now this is where I'd pulled the box out so I could get it squared up. I did have help from my friend Mike and Matt getting it all squared up and pretty. Now this is out at my buddy's Matt's. He actually has a table saw, so we cut that. That's for the baffle. And you can see I'm fitting the first port in there. Just got everything to fit in there nicely. It was a great fit. Of course, it didn't go together as easily when I was putting it in the car. Now, I screwed up. Lesson for me is when you're cutting circles, the holes out for the subwoofers, do one at a time. Don't do all three of them. That blade got crooked and it ruined it. I had to switch the order of the boards. Now here's where I was trying to figure out how to cut the port out. Ended up getting Matt's little girl to climb in the box, and she traced that port. Now this is actually putting it in the car. This is the gluing it and screwing it in. And I kind of messed up on this left wall. I actually had to tear it apart and redo it. You could see there that top board wasn't fitting, but I did get it fixed and corrected, and you'll see here in a little bit I've resined everything, even stuffed in some of the felt just to seal off the corners better. I ended up putting plastic inside to help while I was sanding, and you guys, I've never done more sanding in my life and never want to see any sandpaper ever again. It was a nightmare sanding this thing. You could also see that I did use caulking in there. I actually ended up peeling most of that out when I was putting the 45s in, because the 45s wouldn't fit in there very well. So the front piece is actually 1-inch MDF. That was donated by my buddy Matt. Thank you for that, Matt. I had Mike. He's actually a retired shop teacher from Monette, nearby town. He's the one that helped a lot with fitment, especially on the front cover and the plexiglass, getting that to fit. You can see working more sandpaper. Now, my buddy Marquise helped a ton. Actually, he's the one that more or less came up with getting the fitment for the 45s, because I could not see the angles and how to cut them. And he was a whiz at being able to do that. Now, I did the first chamber. I decided just to seal off that front top part instead of trying to put in, all the different 45s, because it is such a headache trying to figure out how they're going to be able to fit together. But it eventually does come together, and you saw them all laid out there. I did paint and sand them all, every single one of them. And I used just a white primer. It wasn't oil-based on everything. You'll see the back is black. I just painted that straight black. It's also oil-based. Yeah, you can see the 45s going in. I had a lot of gaps, just because it never fits the same way after you take it back out. But I did get the gaps filled and painted over, and I think it turned out really good. The orange was my wife's idea, and I thought it was a great idea. Do the front black and the back black, and then the inside to be that orange. It's not quite the same color as my car, but you can't really tell when you're inside the car. And it looks great right there. The cover there, wrapping around the amp, the panel. But if you look real closely at it in the car, it's pretty rough. But it serves its purpose. It's wrapped. It looks nice. And nobody's going to examine it. If they do, oh well. I'm pleased with it. And GP Car Audio got me the plexi. That stuff's not cheap. My buddy Richard helped a ton with getting the sides cut out, with the cardboard and everything like that. So thanks to him. And also had some help from Cody, and Shane helped a little bit with the panel. I think he did a little bit of sanding. But yeah, I'm very pleased with everything, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. And I didn't enjoy the process, but I certainly enjoy the results.